Some people seem to absolutely love this game. Praises from the heavens. Assassin's Creed is back to its roots. It looks so beautiful and the gameplay is fun. Or they absolutely hate it because, well, mostly racism. There is some valid criticism though. Like whatever is going on with this enemy. Yeah, you gonna beat me yet? How you doing in there? Having a good time? Maybe there's more to this game and it's worth giving it some time to see if it's actually any good or if it's just more UB slop.
This is too big.
So instead of judging it in the first 2 days that it came out, I decided to play all the way through it and even complete the platinum so I could get a proper opinion. And yeah, it's alright. The game goes from high highs to low lows, and that's what I'm going to showcase for you today. But be warned because I will have spoilers. Many spoilers. I will spoil this game for you. So whether you've played this game already, or you're just looking for an outside opinion before you get it, we're going to take a deep dive into this game right now. Before the game was even released though, there was already controversy surrounding it. No surprise, it's a Ubisoft game. It doesn't help that the game was delayed twice, and I completely agree with the reasoning behind that decision. At least the reason that they gave us, which was for additional development and polish. As Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Or something like that. I don't know, I didn't read it. The irony is that they still released an incomplete product. I mean, it runs, it's functional, it's fine, but it was still missing some core elements like the road travel system that was present in past Assassin's Creed games. You had to be attentive and move everywhere yourself. Or the ability to move forward in time. If you want to move forward in time in this game, you literally have to wait time. A few weeks after release though, they did end up patching in some fixes like fixing the frame rate issues that some people had in the hideout, since it looked absolutely dastardly before. And they even brought back the ability to follow waypoints, but that doesn't stop the map guide from taking some less than optimal routes. More recently, Ubisoft also came out with a new trailer for their upcoming roadmap where one of their key announcements wasn't just new stories and weapons, but fixing more bugs and adding more parkour abilities. I know most people will feel like this should have been default from day one, and yeah, it should have, but I will commend that they are continuing to refine the experience. That's not something we used to get in video games. They used to just make the video game, send it out, and if it was broken, it was broken. And even so, not everyone bought the game day one, not to mention that not everybody rushes to the end of the game as soon as they get it either. So I'm sure even now, there are still some people who are somewhere in the middle of the story. But story, that's a good point. This game does have a story. I think you can call it that. I'm not gonna say it's the most engaging story, but at least the base story is pretty easy to follow. Naoe is told that she has to protect this special box passed down from her father, and then she loses it in the first 5 seconds. Uh-oh. Oh! Dang. That sucks. So she goes after the people who stole it, steals it back, and then loses it immediately after. And then the same group of people who took the box kill her dad. You really gonna let some dudes in some goofy Scooby-Doo masks kill your father like that? Yeah, you are. I'm sorry, this guy looks so goofy. This is the most unserious Oni mask I've ever seen in my life. Oh, nope, never mind, sorry. That's the most unserious. So the main story of the game is tracking down each one of them and exacting your revenge. And then Yasuke tags along for funsies. And if the foundation of the story sounds familiar, it's because it's basically the same exact idea from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It even includes the part where you're gatekept from doing the regular story because you need to be a certain level. So you have to go unnecessarily out of your way to do every side quest and activity that you come across, just to level up enough to continue your journey. And then you spend so much time away from the main story, you almost completely forget what's going on by the time you get back to it. But it really doesn't matter because by the time you do get the box back, you don't even get to see what's inside it. So like, what's the point? I think the odd part about this portion of the story is that this right here is not technically the end. Now the story is broken up into 3 acts, and this takes place somewhere between acts 2 and 3. You would think that completing your revenge would be some significant cutoff to the story, but no, it's more like the 3/4 point.
But it doesn't feel over.
At least they give you some trophy for it, otherwise it would probably just be a loss. And if we're being honest, I'm not even sure what the criteria for each act cutoff is. Act 1 is over after you do the Mibuno Showdown quest, and it's only then that you unlock Yasuke, and the amount of time it takes to even get that far completely varies depending on the person. It took me about 7 hours, though some people said they did it in 4, while others are saying that they've been playing the game for over 20 hours and still haven't gotten that far. It's the inconsistency that I truly love from Ubisoft. If there's one thing that they're consistent with, it's their inconsistency. I got the trophy for finishing Act 2 after doing what seemed like a random side activity, which takes you to a Naue flashback. It didn't tell me that I finished the act at the end of the flashback where it would have made sense to. No, instead they gave it to you at the beginning. I suppose this was the last flashback at the end of Naue's story, so it makes sense that it would be the end of an act. But if that's the case, why is it not the end of an act when you finish Yasuke's story? At the end of Yasuke's story, you take out your final boss and the credits roll. So you do get a credit roll, it's just not technically the end of any act or the story in general. Which, now that I think about it, makes perfect sense from a Ubisoft standpoint. Also, the credits are 2 hours long. This is not an exaggeration. I literally mean 2 hours. That's a lot of credits. The end of Act 3 is after you complete all the quests revolving around all the friends you made in your hideout. And then the epilogue is literally just a couple more story sections after that. And it's quite the true exciting ending we have here.
Are you sure you want to? It's a big job.
I can do it. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I don't even know if it really felt like that this was an ending. It just kind of felt like we were going, and then we stopped. Ubisoft storytelling, everybody. It's been a while since Assassin's Creed had a well-told story that actually captivates its audience. And oddly enough, some of the strongest story parts of this game are the side stories, since they are a bit more fun and interesting. There's literally one that asks you to pet a dog. You find a dog sitting in front of his owner's grave. You follow the dog to his old estate, where his owner's sister-in-law is verbally upset that the man left the key to his inheritance to the dog. The dog leads you to the key, and taking it back to the grave reveals that the inheritance is hidden, but you get to inherit the dog. And then you get to keep the dog and bring him back to your hideout and pet him anytime you'd like. Until he breaks.
What the dog doing?
What is the dog doing?
Oh.
Yeah, the dog's not supposed to do that.
Oh.
But we don't talk about that. There's another set of missions where people claim to see Oni demons all across the land. After you track down and investigate every sighting, you discover that they were all hoaxes or just people in masks. That is until you return to the man who gave you the request and find out that one of the yokai attacked him. It's this fun little folklore coming to life that we got a lot from the other games like Odyssey with its Cyclops or the Minotaur. And I really think these games should embrace things like this more. Let me fight a dragon or something, come on. And while one of the major complaints from the prior few Assassin's Creed games is that they didn't really embrace the Assassin's Creed story, Shadows makes a point of trying to integrate more of the hidden ones into this world. Whether you're coming across the other people with the Assassin's Blade, or finding an entire tomb dedicated to Assassin's Creed lore. And then they have these weird like out-of-body experience moments that is just really cryptic, and I didn't really pay much attention to, I'm not gonna lie. But at least there was some effort put into this. But there is one more major complaint that I would love to get out of the way here that you're absolutely justified for hating. Microtransactions. The game is already a $70 title at launch. Fortunately, I was able to secure a review copy from Ubisoft, so thank you Ubisoft for providing the product. Hopefully this video doesn't blacklist me. Mine was the digital deluxe edition, so it came with this cool looking dog. So if you think I spent money on this, rest assured, I don't make enough money to spend my money on stuff like this. How much is it anyways? Well, let's take a look. First of all, where is it? Is it under exchange? I'd like to exchange my money for some items. What are keys? How am I supposed to get those? Well, let's look under projects. Well, this is just a battle pass. Why does a single player game have a battle pass? Oh, wait, there it is. Tiny and in the corner, the store. So first of all, they're trying to get me to spend real money to tell me where the items are in the game, like chests and activities. You know, instead of actually exploring the big, beautiful world that they created. Why would anyone want to do that? And then we have the cosmetic packs, which are 2,300 Helix credits because nothing can ever be a direct dollar exchange anymore. And for reference, that's $20 of your hard-earned money. And that's just if you want one. To be fair, they all look amazing, and I'm sure a lot of time went into creating such breathtaking designs. So you know what? Let's support the developers and buy all 4. That's only $80, which is already more than you spent on the base game, but then let's tack on another $8 for the cute animals that you can pet in your hideout. But then you feel like those animals are gonna get lonely, so you gotta get friends for those animals, and you get the actual hideout pack for $10. But now that you've bought 2 of them, you might as well finish the collection with the haunted dog pack too. You know what? Let's just clean out the store. Let's get all of it. And before you know it, you've spent $13,000. Probably. I don't know, I'm just estimating. But don't give GTA 6 any ideas. Because in the end, of course you want all of your allies to have matching outfits. So worth the money. These major gaming companies can't be bothered with settling for the money that they make just from sales, and will try any gimmick to squeeze every last penny out of their consumers. And although these are some very stunning pieces of art, they price them so high because they know that their consumers are gonna buy them anyway. What I don't think they ever realized is that if they just kept good rapport with their players, they would end up selling more copies, which would make up for whatever money they think they're making from these cosmetics. And then they can still make the cosmetics, but they can make them way more affordable. The dirty secret that they don't tell you is that the rise of microtransactions mainly started with Call of Duty back in the day. Once they saw people were willing to spend more, they slowly raised prices, year after year, until we get to the point where packs are running from $20 to $30 or even more. But now you can be a shark, so it's all worth it. If all of this is what you're angry about, I totally get it. It is 100% justified. You know what it isn't justified? Racism, homophobia, historical accuracy, potentially. While Yasuke may not have been a prominent figure, and his title may or may not have been officially samurai, who cares? The Pope never had an all-powerful mystical apple, and the Boston Massacre wasn't started by a guy with a porn stash. If this is the time that you decided to start caring about historical accuracy, then this might be the very first video game that you ever played. For some reason, Yasuke has been a big topic of conversation to the point where his existence in the game completely ruined the experience for some players. Okay, let me rephrase that. People who have not played the game refuse to play it because he's in it. Let's not dance around it. It's just blatant racism. Stop trying to deny it, being like, I'm not racist, I just really care about historical accuracy. If you're gonna be racist, own up to it. Wear that title. But also, don't be racist. You think Doom Guy is racist? No, he just hates demons. Be like Doom Guy. One excuse floating around was that the Japanese government wasn't happy about Yasuke's inclusion in the game, but as far as I can tell, the most they cared about was the fact that the shrines in the game could be destroyed, so Ubisoft fixed that on day one. There were even some people who were upset over the fact that you can choose the characters' relationships. It is optional dialogue that you, the player, get to choose, so if you don't want the gay cutscene, don't choose the gay cutscene options. It's that simple. But if seeing 2 men make out makes you uncomfortable, then I'm just gonna show it even more. And you know what? I'm gonna play some music behind it. Yeah, okay, I will admit the actual animation itself is weird, but that's true with kissing in any video game. They just can't ever seem to get it right. But truly, I think Yasuke has his place in this game. His addition helped truly balance the game out. Instead of having one character that has to cover every single attribute, it's now split into 2 characters with their own playstyles. Naoi that plays like the typical assassin that we all know and love, sneaking and stealthing her way into assassinations, and also she can do this. That's sick as hell, dude! And then Yasuke takes over the role of the RPG style of Assassin's Creed character, with his brute strength and more powerful ranged attacks. He doesn't play like an assassin because, well, he's not an assassin. He can't even leap of faith. Oh my goodness, can he just not leap of faith? What was that? I mean, he tries. It gets me every time whenever he's doing the leap of faith and he just like biffs it, but he can't. So if you were a fan of the older games with traditional Assassin's Creed gameplay, or you're a fan of the newer games with their heavy RPG brawling, there's a playstyle that everyone can enjoy. The developers intentionally let you do just about any mission in the game as either character. obviously minus the entire first act where you can only play as Naoe until you unlock Yasuke. And then each of them do have their specific character missions or side activities, but most of them are pretty fun. It feels very much like the contrast between playing Sly and Murray in the Sly Cooper games. Sly is sneaky, can maneuver easily, and thrives off of playing in the darkness. And then Murray just likes to break stuff. Just like Yasuke. Speaking of Sly Cooper, I did recently make an entire hour-and-a-half video about getting all the platinums for Sly Cooper games. So if you want to check that out after this video, that would be super appreciated. Thank you. Watch this one first though. So although you climb literally the same building 500 times, at least it feels fun every time that you do it. And while the game can be as simple as sprinting your way towards your target and pressing the assassination button, there is a lot of nuance that I think goes overlooked because, as gamers, a lot of us just want to rush forward, finish the mission, and get on to the next one. Let me show you how. There was one mission in particular where I rushed the target and ended up getting completely slaughtered. And it wasn't until after I respawned that I saw that the developers created a setup. Here, you can steal the dog's food, causing the dog to whine and bark, then immediately hide in this box. The target will hear the dog's whine and come down by himself to check on the dog to see what's wrong. And that's when you seize your moment and leap out of the box and claim your kill. Or actually just leave him with 2 health bar segments left. Not gonna lie, that did kind of annoy me a little bit. But thankfully there is an option to turn on instant assassination, so like, just turn that on and the gameplay will be a lot more fun. But there are so many different parts of this game that a lot of players are just going to miss. When you take the time to really take in your surroundings, not only do you see a beautiful open world, but a well-crafted one with intention and details. Every route in and out of a castle, every setup for an assassination, and every intriguing story. And not everyone is going to experience every single moment. They even subvert expectations by having a moment where you're attacked while you're doing a side activity. So instead, there's judgment and hate spewed because of the company developing it, or even the color of the protagonist's skin. Now don't get me wrong, it's not better than like Ghost of Tsushima. I have like 8 pages of notes commenting on every slight inconvenience I came across.
Can we go home now? I'm hungry.
That is just the worst voice acting I've ever heard in my life, I'm not gonna lie. Like how the enemy attack patterns are incredibly easy and predictable, so any fight comes across as too simple. Or how I'm unable to interact with anything until I'm fully incognito, but since this one guy all the way on the ground is still looking for me, I have to sit here and wait before I can synchronize this point. Or how I got glitched inside a rock. I still don't know how I did that, but that's okay because the enemies can glitch inside the rocks just as easily. Oh, I have one more. Some minigames allow you to reset instantly if you make a mistake. Like there's a button in the corner to allow you to do a quick reset and everything, but if you mess up one arrow when trying to hit all the targets, you have to wait until it's over, go through the cutscene, talk to the guy again, and tell him you want another crack at it. All of that just to reset. I hate that very much. Just let me hit the button. You let me hit the button for the other one. Just let me hit the button. So I did mention before that I did get the platinum trophy. So I wanted to touch briefly about the completion process, which was a lot of fun, I will admit. I also have the platinums for both Assassin's Creed Mirage and Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well, and those are 2 very different processes. Mirage only took me about 20 hours, where Valhalla was closer to 120. Assassin's Creed Shadows was somewhere right in the middle at 66 hours. And it should have been closer to 60, but there was one specific trophy that kind of put it over the edge, and I'll get to that shortly. So if you dance around the crazy disconnected story long enough and keep finishing all of the side activities that you find, you're gonna knock out most of the trophies pretty easily. There were some additional fun trophies that you can tell the developers just wanted to be funny with, like there's this one called "This is Japan" actually, referencing 300's famous Sparta line where you kick an enemy off the cliff.
This is Sparta!
Adventurer, where you shoot an enemy in the knee with an arrow. That one should be self-explanatory, right? Happy Place, where you reach the highest point of the map. It's right here on this mountain, by the way. And the Made You Look trophy, where you look for treasure hidden behind the waterfall in your hideout. Surprisingly, this is an 8% trophy. This is in your hideout. I don't know how people are missing this. I see a waterfall, I'm checking behind it. That's the rules of video games. Nearly every trophy on this list either posed a fun challenge or a unique reference. Except for one. One trophy. One trophy on this list made me actually hate going for the platinum. And it was the last trophy that I got. Let me provide some context real quick. This game doesn't just have a day-night cycle, it also has a yearly seasonal cycle too. Every 24 minutes, it switches between day and night, and every 2 hours or so, the season changes. It's a cool gimmick and helps the world feel more alive and immersive, and for the most part, doesn't have any effect on actual gameplay. Except for this one trophy. This trophy is called a rare occurrence, which asks you to complete all legendary sumie. Sumie are little paintings that you can do around the map where you paint little pictures of animals, and it's really cute and stuff. But there are 5 of them that are some sort of mythical animal that you need to be at the right place at the right time to find. You can use a guide to tell you where they all are, that's not a problem. The problem is, 4 of them only happen during a specific time of year. And I hope you see now where I'm going with this. The game has no way to progress time automatically. Other Assassin's Creed games allow you to press a button and instantly change it from night to day, but this game forbids you from doing that and makes you wait the time out. So although I got the first 3 pretty easily since I was lucky that the season was about to change, to get the next one, I had to wait 2 real-life hours for the game to change to winter. And that's not as easy as just leaving the game on. Because if the game senses you idling or doing nothing, it will move time slower. So my fix for this was to fast travel to one side of the map and then set a waypoint down on the other and let the game auto follow the route while I did something else on my other monitor. And I did this over and over and over again until the season finally changed and I could get the 4th sumie. But then I had to do it all over again to get the one for spring. So needless to say, I had it going again on my other monitor while I was doing other things. To describe this as the most annoying trophy in the game is a bit of an understatement. It has the lowest earn percentage out of any other trophy, and that's because nobody is stumbling upon this by accident. Every single person who has this trophy are people who are going out of their way to get it so they can get the platinum. And I'm not going to say this one trophy nearly ruined the experience, but it did have me tack on a few extra hours of gameplay that I didn't really plan on doing. But besides that, I loved every other second of this game. Yeah, Ubisoft sucks as a company, and they've made so many Assassin's Creed that it's hard for any of them to feel new and different. And even when they made something new and different, people still complained. But this game has a lot of attention to detail, a lot of care, and although it's not perfect because, let's be real guys, every video game that releases now has bugs. This one's not special for having bugs. Okay, as a society accept that modern video games have bugs. When you play the core game, it is a lot of fun. It's just unfortunate that this game seems to have a loud minority of its fan base that likes to scream about every little thing when they know that they weren't gonna buy it anyways. Meanwhile, there's a silent majority who are minding their own business and having a great time. So I think, yeah, I would recommend it. Just maybe not for $70 though. But that's because it's hard to constitute anything as a $70 game. So wait for a sale. And don't buy microtransactions. Or do, it's your money. But I wouldn't, don't do it. But now that I've finished Assassin's Creed, it's time to save up my money and overspend it on the Nintendo Switch 2. Yay! Thank you guys for watching. Check out some of the other videos, leave a like, subscribe. I've lost my voice complaining about Assassin's Creed so much, but it was a fun game. Okay, bye.